Good evening, everyone. I, CA Balkrishan Gupta, moderator of this webinar. We are delighted to welcome you all in the webinar being organized by Continuing Professional Education Committee of ICI. It's my pleasure to be a moderator for the 84th webinar on data analysis and reporting using Tableau and practical scenarios under 15C and 15CB. In a short while, we will start this webinar. First, I would like to apprise you about the CP committee. In today's ever-changing professional scenario worldwide, the biggest challenge the professional face is how to stay on the top of their game while adapting to new requirements and norms. Therefore, it's imperative to aim to be up to date to offer unique guidance, influence others with their innovative approach and expertise. It is also vital to stretch old ideas beyond traditional boundaries to create new perspectives. In this context, continuing professional education facilitates professionals to maintain, improve, and broaden their knowledge, skills, and expertise required to achieve their professional goals through webinars, seminars, etc. The program for this evening is as follows. We have two sessions of 1 hour each, and topics are first, data analysis and reporting using Tableau, and the second, practical scenarios under 15C and 15CB. Our eminent speakers will talk about above mentioned two emerging areas of professional interest. Now, I would like to introduce our first speaker, CA Alok Sethi sir. He is a chartered accountant and company secretary with over 15 years of professional experience in finance, taxation, and technology-driven learning. He serves as an AI faculty with ICI and a master trainer with Skill India. His expertise spans generative AI, finance, or for non-finance, finance modeling, and data analytic tools like Excel, Power BI, and Tableau. He has also conducted various corporate and academic training sessions across India and abroad, including Oman, Qatar, and the UK for the leading organizations. Sir, now I request CA Alok Sethi sir for their session. Sir, please.
Thank you, C. Balakrishna, for the introduction, and thank you, CP committee, for having me in this session. And a very good evening to all the listeners. And in fact, Happy New Year. This is the first session for this year that I'm doing on online for ICAI, and I'm happy to do it for the CP committee. So, and indeed, it's a very interesting topic that we have chosen for this session, which is data analytics using Tableau. Now, as a chartered accountant, we are always dealing with a lot of data from our client when it comes to audit or it comes to return filing or other things. But now the role has widened, the scope has widened for all the professionals from being an auditor to being a data analyst as well, because that will help you in catering to more needs of your client, and you can do a lot of you can provide a lot of services to your client, right? So today we are going to deep dive into how we can use Tableau as an application. And what is Tableau? Because we might have heard of Excel, we might have heard of Power BI, but maybe this term is new to you, or you might have heard but not experience what it is. Today I'm going to walk you through this tool, and also we are going to look into some practical aspect of data analytics, how we can use Tableau for data analytics. So before I continue, before I share my screen, let me tell you that Tableau is a Salesforce company product, and it is a tool which is used for data analysis. Okay. So having said so and having discussed all this, let us directly jump into what is Tableau and how it can be used. Okay. So now I'll be sharing my screen and I'll just give you a glimpse about what is Tableau. So I hope my screen is visible. So on my screen, you can
Yes, sir.
see, yes, you can see an infographic, okay, which I have created using an AI tool called as Notebook LM, okay, and it is showing you the overview of what is Tableau, okay. So Tableau is a data analytic product which you can use to analyze your data. Now, why to use Tableau and not any other tool, or how it is different from other tools which are available in the market? So number one, it is completely free. So when you're using Tableau Public, it is free. You don't have to pay anything. You don't have to subscribe. You don't have to uh, pay anything for its use. It's completely free. You can build an online portfolio. You can showcase your skills, or you can upload data online. Okay. Although it should not be a confidential data, you can use a dummy data and you can create different visuals and you can share it across. Then when we talk about the steps for visualization, there are three steps basically that is required. One is to get that application to use the tool, and then you have to upload your data. Then you have to connect the data, and then you can create various visuals that will help you in analyzing the data well. Okay. So I will be walking you through the product, and I'll be showing you a demo also of how to use it. But before that, let us talk about some of the important areas how CAs can use it and how it can be used by chartered accountants in practice. So we will continue with the slide and I'll show you the basics about Tableau, and then we'll go into the practical aspect of Tableau. So basically, when we talk about data visualization, we can imagine that we are talking about something related to charts, graphs, and you can see on the screen also there is a person who is sitting with a laptop screen, a big screen, and showing different charts and graphs and trend analysis over there. So this is what we say when we talk about data visualization or dashboarding. Now, why data analysis matters for chartered accountant? Because we are already dealing with a lot of data around the client, and now the client is not only approaching us for doing the regular work, but the client also needs some business consultancy from us. So, as a chartered accountant, it can be a new area of practice, another area of practice for you, wherein you can do business consultancy for your client. You can help your client earn more profit, increase sales revenue by using this tool. So why, how Tableau is being used? So it has been used globally around the world, and there are 10,000 plus Tableau certified data analysts, including some professionals also who are making their careers in this field of data visualization. It is user friendly, and you have to just drag and drop the things, and then you get the visuals ready in less time. Secondly, it can seamlessly connect to your Excel, your SQL, your crowd database, your ERP system. So it support a lot of integration across various tools. Now, what skill set is required to master Tableau or to start using it? So number one is data preparation and connection. So first you have to have your data. It can be a financial data, it can be a sales data, it can be a organizational data, it can be any data which you want to analyze and which you want to report to the management. Then once you prepare your data, then you have to actually understand, you have to create a layout, what you want to present, how you want to present. You have to find out various KPIs and all. And that is where this application becomes very handy, and it becomes very easy to build up the things in Tableau. So we can build interactive dashboard. And I'll be showing you some of the dashboards which I built already, and we'll be walking through how to do it. So in the Tableau, you can do advanced analytical techniques you can use. So you can have calculated fields. So what is calculated field? Let's say you have sales, you have profit, but you do not have GP ratio in the Excel. You can use some functions and formulas, and it can create that column. You can create that field which is not existent. So that is called as calculated field. Secondly, you can use data intelligence. You can use some time intelligence functions, and it can find out the sales trend over the quarter, over the year, over the last year, same period this year, same period last year, like that. So you can do various calculations using Tableau. Then some of the practical use cases can also be in audit and assurance, wherein we can do anomaly detection, we can find out some frauds or something which is not usual, okay, which can be skipped by looking at the tables or looking at the data. But when you look at the visual, it gives you some highlighters, it gives you some outliers, which help you understand that where the data is showing a different pattern, where it is showing a different trend, and you can pinpoint that to the management, or you can drill down and find out more stuff about that data. So it can help you in your improved reporting efficiency to find out certain points for your audits, some considerations, some points which need more enhanced checking, okay. And it can also enhance our professional spectism, so it can be useful in audit also, audit and assurance services. Now, since I have already discussed about the uses of this tool, let me give you a roadmap also how to start using this or how to start learning about this tool. So first you have to understand some fundamentals. So we are already using Excel. So in Excel also we know how to build pivot tables, we know how to build charts and all. But one limitation of Excel is the number of rows data it can handle. Secondly, the another limitation is that it can connect only with Excel sheet. It cannot take data from multiple sources. And pivot also, you cannot create pivot from two different data sources, right? So here you have to work around that. So first you build your fundamental skills, analytical skills, then you work on some calculations and to find out some measures which can be more useful. And then you can go for a certification if you want to take it ahead and you want to work as a data analyst with any of the companies or for your clients like that. So this journey of using Tableau and learning Tableau can take somewhere between 3 to 6 months to get proficiency. So now I'll will come to the practical use cases, okay, wherein I will show you how to use it and how we can do that. Okay. So let me jump or take you to the website of Tableau, wherein you can download this application. So you can just type Tableau public download in the Google, and the first link that you see is a Tableau public. So Tableau is basically available as a free software when you are working with the Tableau public. Public means it is publicly available to use. And whatever data you are uploading, it will be available to all the people. Anyone can download that dashboard that you have created. But if you want to restrict it to your use case or only up to your organization or your client or your office, then obviously you have to take a subscription, and then you have to take a private subscription, and then you can connect any data and it will be within your organization, or it can be to your specific cloud application only. So this is the website of Tableau where you can see there is a community and there are people who have created various visuals. So you can see that there are some feedbacks and all these things. Okay. So they have a visual gallery also, wherein you can go to that gallery and you can see the viz of the day. Viz means visualization. So every day people are uploading new visuals or new dashboards. So that can be an inspiration or that can give you an idea what and how you can visualize and how you can create stunning dashboards. Okay. So it can be a dashboard for a hospital, or it can be a dashboard for an oil and gas company, or it can be an employment related dashboard. Okay. So a lot of dashboard which are already created and available. So here we will look into a sales dashboard. So if you go to this dashboard, you will be able to see Apple Christmas sales. So it is taking the data from Apple company and taking the sales data, and then a visual dashboard is created using Tableau. So when we say it is interactive, I'll show you what do you mean by interactive dashboard? Okay, because a dashboard represent different KPIs, different numbers, different figures. Okay, but what gives it more, what makes it more interesting is the interactive feature. Okay, so once it is loaded, I'll show you how the dashboard can be interactive and why to have interactive dashboard, how it can help you in your data analysis and how it can help the client also in getting generating more sales, or it is in understanding what is working and what is not working. So let the page load. Yeah, so it is now loaded. And here you see that Apple logo is there. Okay, then you see these KPIs, these cards, which has the sales, which has the quantity sold, and which has the profit. Okay, it also has a comparison of sales with the previous season sale. It can be previous month, previous year, previous quarter. It also has a comparison with the previous quantity sold. It also has a comparison of the profit. So, so these are called as cards where you see numbers. Okay, so you can see the sales in millions. Then which country and what and leads perform best. So it is giving you country-wise comparison of the sales, wherein you are seeing that USA has got the highest sales, and what is the trend from the last season. So there is a decline in the sales. China also there is a decline. Ireland there is a growth of 8.7%, and you can see also India is also giving a better sales as from the last period. Then it is comparing four season for this Christmas. Okay, 19, 20, 21, 22, like that. And you can go ahead and you can change these also, whereas it is online or offline sales like that. Okay. Then which are the best sellers? So you can see the product. Okay, Apple iPhone, Apple TV. So when I click on anyone, it will show the chart for that particular product. Okay, so right now I have selected Apple TV, and you will see that everything will change, all the numbers will change. So that means it is interactive. So yes, you can see the numbers have changed. Okay, all these figures have changed because we have selected a single product. Okay, now if you go to product name, it will give you a list of the products which are there. Earlier we were talking about the product category. It is now giving you the product names. Okay, so this is how this dashboard is interactive. Okay, now here, let's say I want to look only for the sales in India. Okay, so I unselect all regions and I select only India. It will give me the dashboard for Indian region. Okay, all the numbers, all the charts will be accordingly created for India. Okay, now this is what you are seeing at the back end, at the front end. Behind this there are a lot of work which has been happened, which has been done. So there is a data set, and then if I select India now, then you will again see that numbers getting populated, but they will all be related to India. So based on the internet speed and based on the traffic on the website, you can see a slight delay in getting the result. But yes, it is faster at times also. So you can see now the sale is in India in this much and all these things. Okay. Now this someone has created and put it on the Tableau public so that it is freely available for public. Now let's say you want to download it, you want to understand how it is created. So you can click on download and you get many options. Okay, you can download the image, you can download the data, you can download the PDF, you can download the PowerPoint, and you can download the Tableau workbook. So let us download the data, the source data, and let me show you what the data looks like. Okay, through which this dashboard is created. And secondly, we will also download the Tableau workbook, and I'll show you how the workbook is look like. Okay, looks like when we work on the Tableau application. So I will download the current view. So this was published in the year 2025 on 13th October. Okay, the last published date, the first published date was third. Then so if some changes are there, and it was published on this website. Okay. So if you are creating any visuals, you can showcase this, and there are 5,512 views, and it has rated as nominated as number one. So this is a platform where you can showcase your visualization skills. Okay. Now, to download the application or to create your own, what you need to do is you need to go to create, and here you need to go to download desktop public edition. And that will help you in downloading the tool. You have to just fill in basic details and then you can download the app. Once the app is downloaded, I will show you how does it look like. Okay. So now, since I already have installed Tableau, I will type Tableau public and you can see that application opening. In the meantime, I will see if we have got downloaded the data also. Then I'll show you that data also. Okay, through which this dashboard is created. So this is the data sheet, and I can download this from here. Yeah, so this worksheet is now downloaded. Okay. So what I'll do is I have opened my Tableau public. So this is how this application look like. Okay. So this is the Tableau public application. Now, when you are using this application or when you are working with this application, okay, if you have created some visuals, it will show here. Okay. If you want to import any file, like we have downloaded the Apple dashboard, we can go to file and we can just click on open. And I will show you the one which I've downloaded. I'll open this file. And now we are going to look at the background working of how this is created. So we were looking at the front end, or we were looking at this dashboard, but behind this dashboard, if I go to data source, okay, uh, or if I go to layout, okay, this will show me different layouts, okay. If I go to come to dashboard, it is showing me that these many sheets are there behind the working of this dashboard, okay. So if I come to sheet one, so this sheet one is having this which country and what leads. Okay, so there are different individual charts. So whenever we are creating a dashboard, we have to create individual tables or individual charts. Based on that charts and tables, we can consolidate all these charts and put them together, and that is what makes our dashboard. Okay, that is what how a dashboard is created. So I'm just showing you the working behind this. Okay, now I can also show you how to get started. Okay, although it requires a lot of practice and hands-on experience while to create this, but I can just show you how to get started. So here we have different sheets, like in Excel, we have different sheets. So in Tableau also you have different sheets. And with these sheets, you can create a dashboard. So these are the different sheets. Each sheet which will have a visual, okay. And that visual, like this is a visual, uh, which day each gender, okay. So this is showing the distribution of gender, and these are the data types, okay. These are the different data which is there. Now what we will do is we will work with the new data set, and I'll show you how to build certain things in Tableau. Now, as a professional, how this will be useful for us? Okay, so I have downloaded one more dashboard, which is a finance dashboard. And this is the corporate finance dashboard, which is showing income statement, balance sheet, P&L, revenue, profitability in visual format. Okay, so if you present this to your client, it can be very good for him to take some decisions for his business. So we can just click on presentation mode and you will see only the dashboard and nothing else. So this is the executive summary. So this is for year to date, December 30. 23 compared to 22. And this is the revenue. Okay, this is the operating expenses. This is showing that there is a decline is the revenue. And it is showing the the balance sheet, current assets, current liabilities, total assets, total liabilities, and this is your P&L, your income statement. Okay, what is the changes? All these things. So these are represented in a manner. Now let's say how to make this interactive. Suppose I select September quarter, and once I select September, you will see the numbers will change. It will query the database, and you will see that numbers will now change. You can see that it is 39.9% GP margin, gross margin over here. Now it has dropped, it has changed to 42%. Okay, it is showing a decline as compared to previous year. Okay, if you see, this number will also change. So as I change the current month, my dashboard is changing because there are a lot of elements. So you can see the sales, which was 9.4 million, has now become 6.4 million. If you don't want year-to-date comparison, you want same month previous year, current month versus same month previous year, you can do this, or you can select current month and previous month. So if I select this, it will show me a different comparison. Okay. So that is how these dashboards help, these dashboard help management in taking decisions or actually tracking the progress of their business compared to various periods. Okay, so you have to just design the dashboard once. You have to put the data, and then based on the different filters and slicers, you can filter out the data and you can put them in the dashboards. Okay, so this is how Tableau works. This is how Tableau works. I hope you might have got an idea about how interesting and how impactful this tool is. Okay, for us as a professional, wherein we can present all this information in the form of visuals, which is interactive, which is changing, which is updating as we are changing the filters. Now, how do we start learning this, or how do we start using this tool? Okay, so now I will walk you through the steps. We will use a dummy data, and I will show you how we can build a dashboard. Okay. So first, let me show you the database, and then I will give you some idea about how to build the dashboard. So I'll close this workbook, and let me open a sample store data set. It is the globally used data set for training on visualization or creating dashboards. Okay, so I will show you this data set first, and we will import this data into Tableau, and then we will try to create some visuals around it. Okay, so first let me show you that data in Excel, and then I will take this to Tableau. So these are the new age tools. Okay. So this Tableau is still was introduced in the year 2003. So it is a 22-year-old tool. Power BI came in the year 2013. But when I see professionals, only 5 to 10% of the people know about these tools, right? So there are three sheets in this data. We have the order sheet, we have the people sheet, and we have the return sheet. Okay. We have the order sheet, we have the people sheet, and we have the return sheet. Okay. Now here order sheet has the details about some orders. So it's a sales data basically, which is having order ID, order date, order to ship date, ship mode, customer. Okay. Let me just align the data. So we have customer name, segment, country, city, state, postal code, region, products, category, subcategory, product, and these three columns for quantity: sales, quantity, discount, profit. We have returns, which orders are being returned. We have the people who is managing different regions. Now we want to create a summary from this data. We want to create a dashboard from this data. And let me show you how big is this data. This is almost 10,000 rows of data. So there are 10,000 records in this data. Now, now what we will do is we will take this file into Tableau. Okay, we will take this file into Tableau and we will try to work with this data set. So I will close this file. It's on my desktop. Okay, I am saving it on my desktop, or it's in my download. I'll use it from the download. And now I will go to my Tableau application. So we will open Tableau application. Now I need to use this Excel sheet to create the dashboard. I will click on Excel. And I will go to my downloads and I will get this data. This was sample superstore. So I will just select this data set. And this data is now loaded. Okay. So now my data is loaded to Tableau. Okay, you can see sample superstore. This file is there. It is showing 3 tables and there are 3 sheets. Okay. So I will pull that data from that sheet and I will drag these tables to create a data model. Okay. Now, see in Excel, the limitation is that we cannot create pivot tables or we cannot create visuals of multiple data, but in Tableau, we can do that. So what we will do is we will drag and drop the order sheet over here. See how simple, how easy it is. Okay. Although it might look very complicated, but it's very simple to use it. Okay. You just need to practice. So we have put the order table and it is showing me the details. It is showing me all the fields which are there. Okay. Now there are different tables also like people and return. I want to connect these 2 sheets with the order sheet. So we are able to create the relationship between 2 tables. So now I will pull order and I will drop it over here. And you can see it has established a relationship. Okay. And now they are connected. Both these data sets are connected because it had a common field, which is region. It a common field region. I will pull people. Oh, sorry. I will pull return and I will connect it with the order sheet again. Because in the order sheet and the return sheet, we had something common. What was that? It was the order ID. So I will select order ID over here. And in the return sheet also. Okay, so in the return, it is showing an error. That means we do not have a common field over here. Okay, so let me just remove this. Let me take this return table from here. Yeah, and now we can see it is connected. So why? Because we have order ID, which is common in both the places. So we have people and we have return, which is connected to my order sheet. Why this connection was needed? Because when I want to use data from multiple sheets, now I'll be able to use it. So this connection is established and is active. Now let me go to my sheet number 1, sheet 1. So this is the area where we can build the visuals. Okay. So now we are going to the next step and we are trying to build some visuals around the data. Now, before we start doing that, what we need to understand is we need to understand 2 concepts. One is that the data can be divided into 2 categories. We can divide the data into 2 categories. One is the data which can be measured, okay, and the data based on which you will measure the other data. For example, there's a sales data. So there are 4 columns like sales, profit, units sold, and discount. These can be measured. Okay, so these columns, these data will be called as measures. And we have segment, we have region, we have category, we have product, we have customer, we have country, city, like that. These will be dimensions. Okay. So now what I'm doing is here in this order table, so we can see the three tables over here. Since we added all the three tables, now you can see on my screen there on the left hand side, we can see three tables: order, people, and return. And here we have some measures name, latitude, longitude, and measured values. Now, if I click on this arrow, the order table will expand and I can see all the fields. This is similar to pivot tables. Okay, you can just imagine that you are working with pivot tables and then you have to drag and drop something into row and something into column. So we have a row and column and we have some values also. Now, let me do one thing. Let me put sales in this area over here. Let me drop sales. And what do you see? You see a number that is 22,97,201. Okay. Or we can say 2.2 million. This is the sales. This is the sales. Okay. Now what we will do is we will, it's very tiny. We cannot read this sales. Okay. We will try to increase the font of this. So what I'll do is I will click on this. I'll go to format and I will try to increase the font size. So from 9, I can make it 16. And you can see it is now bigger. I can make it even more bigger. I can make it 28. And even I can change the color of the font. And I can make it bold also. So this is my sales. Now, along with my sales, I want to see the profit also. So I can just drag and drop the profit near to that. So we already have sales. Now we can add a profit also. So here you see two numbers when I'm clicking on this, but the two numbers are not visible separately because now we have to have a container which can contain both the numbers. Okay. So what I will do is this is the sales. Now sales I want to see by region, like which region, what sales you are doing. So we can put region into rows. And now we get a division of the sales. We get a bifurcation of the sales for each region, like central, east, south, west. What is the total sales? Okay. And you don't see the total here. When you go to analysis, you can go to totals and you can say show column grand total. And you will see the grand total over here. So once again, we can see the total sales is now categorized into different regions, sales by different region. Now, along with the region, I want to see what segment is giving me how much sale in particular region. So we can put the segment into column. We can put the segment into column and you can see now the table is expanded. It is similar to pivot tables. Okay, it is similar to pivot tables. So consumer, corporate, home office, all these things. Now you'll say, sir, if we can do the same thing in pivot table, why we are reinventing the wheel and why we are doing the same things with Tableau? Why not continue with Excel only? Okay. Now I'll show you something which Excel cannot do. What is that, sir? So that is Excel cannot show you the world map. It cannot show you which state and which cities you are generating how much sales. So what does it mean? It means that if I put the state into my rows, I'm getting the list of all the states and what sales I'm generating. Okay, how much sales I'm generating for the state. So I can rename this sheet to and I can call it as state-wise sales. Okay, state-wise sales. I'm just showing you what Tableau can do, which other applications like your Excel cannot do. So we have created a sales-wise, state-wise sales table. Now I don't want to see a table. Table I can see in Excel also. I want to see a visual. So let's convert this into a map. So here we have show me, and in the show me, you have different visuals which are already there. There are so many visuals. I have selected the map, symbol map, and it has given a blank map. But here at the bottom, you see 49 unknown. Okay. So let us click on this and let's see why we are not getting the visuals populated. So we will go to filter or edit locations and see it is taking India as a country, but the data, the state is in US. So what I'll do is I will change it from India to United States of United States. And now it has identified all the states. It has mapped it accordingly. And now let me click on OK. Now, my friends, do you see small dots coming in the different states? Okay. So these are symbols which are representing some dots are bigger, some dots are smaller in size, depending on what is the sale. Now, let's say we want to have different color for these different states. So what I can do is I can put the state into color and you will see we have a legend now, which is showing different color for different states. And I want to have the label also. I want to see which states we are working on or we are generating the sales from what states. So we can put the states into label. Okay. So I'll put the state into label and now it is giving me all the state name also. But sir, it is not showing the sales. You said that when we go to any state, we can see the sales also. Now, let's say if you want to see the sales here also in the chart, in the map, you can pull that sales and you can put it in label. So we have to just drag and drop and see, wow, we are getting to see the sales number for each state in the map itself. Suppose I want to see the profit also. Yes, I can drag the profit also, and you can see the sales and the profit number for each state. But sir, I can see that there are some states which are resulting into losses, and there are some states which are resulting into profit. Can we have a different color for profit making states and a loss making states? And can we have this in a better visual? So I will show you that also. So I'll go to show me again and we will use a field map now. So this is another map. I'll just change this map, this visual to another visual and see what happens now. So, okay, let me do one thing. Let me create another sheet and let me do the same thing again. Let me put the sales number here. Let me put the state again in the rows. Okay, and now let me select this map. Okay, great. So, sir, now it is giving me a look of a US state map. Okay, but I cannot see any numbers over here. What we will do is we will put the state into labels again. I will put the state into labels. And you can see all the states now. You can see the names of the state. When we double click on the label, I can increase the font size also. Okay, so I can make it 14, I can make it big. Now you can see all the names, you can read all the names of the state properly. And sir, what I want is, I want to see the sales as well. So let us put the sales into label and we see the sales. Let us put the profit also into label. Sir, but we wanted to have different colors for the profit and non-profit state. How do we do that? So now let me put the profit into color. And when I do that, and when I double click on this profit, there is a option of edit colors. I'll go to edit colors and here we will select a scale. We will select a red and green option. Okay. Red, green diverging. And it is going to give me a red color for all the loss making states and a green color for all the profit making state. And I don't want any shades. I just want two colors, red and green. So here it is. So you can see all those states which are red marked are all loss making states. And all those states which are coming in green, they are all profit making states. So guys, is this possible in Excel? No, it is not possible. Okay. So this is the benefit of using Tableau for visualization. Similarly, if I want to find out what is the category or subcategory by sales, I can select subcategory and then I can put the sales here and it will give me subcategory by sales. Now I want to show it in different visuals. Let me put this in a bubble chart. This is called as packed bubbles. So it is showing me different circles, and in these circles, we have the subcategory in the label. When I go to label, I can increase the font size over here again, and I can make them bold. And again, I can put the sales because we charters until we see any number, तब तक हमें शांति नहीं मिलती कि नंबर तो नहीं दिख रहा है. तो I put the numbers of sales into the circles, and I'm putting the profit also into the circle. Okay, so it is showing both, correct? For the small circle, it will not show because we have increased the font size. If you reduce the font size, you will be able to see both. Okay, so you can see both. Here also, we can have the bifurcation between profit and loss. Now, here, sir, we do not have a GP ratio. Is there any way where we can create a GP ratio also and we can find out what category is earning what kind of profit and what kind of loss? So yes, we can create some measure values also. Okay, so we can create some measures. Okay, and we can add some calculated columns as well. So how do we do that? So we can create some different measures, okay, just by adding it to the analysis, okay, and you can create some measures of your own. I will just quickly show one measure and then if any questions are there, I can take some of the questions, okay. Let's say you want to get the percentage of total, okay, so we can select percentage of column and it can give you the percentage sales also as compared to the total. How much is the percentage sales of phones, how much is the percentage of table, like that. So we have converted this into a percentage, okay. Similarly, you can create different measures also. So here we have totals, here we have percentage of all. Okay, here we can have different legends, different filters, and there is a field of create calculated field. So when I click on this, I will call it as GP ratio. And here I can write a formula that my profit, when I type profit, it will give me the name of the field. I want to divide it by the sales. That's it. And I want to get the result multiply by 100. So that it may give me percentage, or we can just simply put this and we can convert this into numbers. So this is the profit divided by sales. I can multiply by 100 also if needed. So this calculation is valid. Now we can click on OK. Now once this is there, I can get the GP ratio also. Now let me put this into labels. Okay, and you see we are getting a sum of GP. We don't want the sum of GP. We want the average of GP. So I'll go to measure and I'll just convert this into average. So here now it is showing me the GP also. But sir, it is just showing the numbers. I don't know whether this 3 lakh 30 is sales or profit or GP. How do I change that? So we can double click on this. We can go to the three dots and we can type sales. We can type profit and we can type GP percentage. Now it is going to give me the labels as well. And you can see it is giving me this. So, but I want the category on top. So what you can do is you can cut this subcategory from here and we can paste it on the top. So whatever we want, we can do the changes and accordingly we will get the results. So now this is giving me a glimpse of how my different categories are giving me different sales. So we have phone, we have tables, we have binders, we have chairs, and what sales and profit we are generating. So here we can see the appliances are giving us a loss of 15%. Okay, like that. These small bubbles are not generating much sales. Okay, you can see that this supplies also is giving a loss. So this is how. Suppose you don't like this, then you can have a bar chart also, something like this. Or you can have a column chart also, something like this. It will show you category wise sales, profit, and all these things. If you want to see the monthly trend, okay, of sales, you can put that monthly trend also. I will show you that in a different chart. So since I have the order date, I can create a trend line also. So I can put the order date in my rows. It is year wise. Okay, I can expand it to quarter. I can expand it to dates. And now we can create a line chart like this. We can convert this table into a line chart, and you can see this is representing the quarter wise sales. Okay. So this is how this entire thing works. If you want to create a pie chart and you want to see what segment we are earning, what revenue, you can put segment and you can put the sales over there, and we can convert this into a pie chart, and we can make it full screen. So this is how again I can add uh, the segment into labels, and even the GP into labels, and the sales into labels, all these things. Okay. And GP, we can make it average again. So this is how Tableau helps you in creating interactive reports or dashboard from your data. And once you create all these sheet, you can just click on dashboard, and you can bring in all those sheets and put them one after the other, and you can design a dashboard which will give you different results. Okay, whatever you don't need, you can just remove it from here. Okay, we don't want this, we can remove it from here. So we can arrange this and we can create a dashboard of what we want. So it is a tiled one. If you don't want tiled one, we can create a floating dashboard also, wherein you will be having the flexibility of deciding what to put where. And you can accordingly create a dashboard. If you want to see the show the grid lines, it will show you the grid lines also. And you can drop the sheets over here. So you have to drag and drop, and we can put it anywhere we want, and we can manually design this dashboard. So this is how this entire thing works. Okay. Uh, so the idea was to introduce this tool to you so that as a professional, we understand how to use these different tools of visualization, whether it is Excel, Power BI, or Tableau, how they can be used for analysis. Okay. And there are various other feature also, but it in a matter of 1 hour, we have taken the important aspects of Tableau. Okay, so I think this is what I wanted to showcase, and then you can give the name to different sheets and you can put this dashboard. We can have some filters also. So if you want to filter out any data, you can put, let's say, I want to filter out for any product. Okay, I want to see the particular product sales. I can put the product name into filters. And I can see I want to see only top 10 products I can apply, and it will show me this. And now I can right click and I can say show filter. So I will see a filter over here, product name. Okay, I need to type. If I don't want to type, I can change this to a list, and I can select any filter. When I change the product, it will show me the sales of that particular product only. Okay, so you can see a list of all the products. If you want to find out a particular product sales, you can just click on it and you can see the visuals are changing on the map. The same filter we can apply to all the sheets. So if I go to this filter and I say apply to worksheets, all using this data source, it will be applied to all the sheets. So here also we will see that filter, product name filter is there. I can see, just click on show filter. And now here also, when I click on this, I will be able to see the various products and how they are doing. Okay, so we can have multiple filters, we can have multiple slicers, and once you want to share this, you have to save it to your Tableau public. You have to publish it on the platform, you have to log into your account, it'll get published, and anyone who has the link, he can view. So we cannot put any confidential data onto Tableau Public. If you like this application, you can go and subscribe, or you can take a subscription for this product, and then you can start using. But for learning purpose, for understanding how it works, you can publish, you can use with the dummy data, and you can work and learn. Once you are confident that you want to apply it to your practice, then you can maybe contact Salesforce, or you can see what are the subscription charges and all, and accordingly you can decide whether you want to go for this, or you just want to use it internally without publishing. Also, you can convert into PDF, or you can save it as a file only, and you can share it. So you can save it as a normal file on your desktop, and you can share it with someone who has Tableau, and he can see that dummy sales file. It will be saved in your desktop only, and it can be used for later purpose. So this was the presentation that I wanted to share with you all when it comes to Tableau. Now, if we have any questions, we can take some questions if some audience have put.
Yeah, sure, sir. Sir, there is a one question from Ghaziabad. Uh, Parag Garg has asked the question: can we connect this with Microsoft Online Excel so that the data gets automatically changed on real-time basis? Is this also available on mobile device, the visualization purpose only?
Okay, so I think a good question, a valid question. See, when we compare Tableau and Power BI, so Power BI is a Microsoft product. Okay, so there we have a lot of integration. You can connect it with your online Excel. You can have different sources. But when we come to Tableau, okay, I will just quickly share my screen and I'll show you what all are the sources through which you can connect to Tableau. So here, if you see, we have Excel, we have JSON, we have Microsoft Access, PDF, and all these things. We have OData also. That means we can connect to the server also. So here we have Google Drive. So you can connect your data with Google Drive, and whenever your data gets changed, updated in the Google Drive, you can get a updated visual also in Tableau. But yes, Tableau public doesn't have a mobile application, so you will not be able to see the reports on mobile, but you will be able to see the reports only on the web page. Okay, what you publish. So Power BI has that application, mobile application. Tableau doesn't have, but to use that, you have to take a subscription.
Right, sir. Sir, there is one question only from the audience side. So
Okay,
thank you, sir, for such a highly informative session on data analysis and reporting using Tableau and sharing such a valuable insight and practical knowledge. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
thank you, thank you, thank
So
you.
going forward, now our second session, uh, we have to start. And from our speaker, C. Akshat Maheshwari, sir. Hello, sir. He is a chartered accountant with over 10 years of post-qualification experience in the international taxation and transfer pricing and specializes in transfer pricing, cross-border structuring, business valuation assessment, and development of organizational SOPs, advising leading MNCs inbound and outbound transactions. He is a regular speaker and a faculty on international taxation, including for ICI, and has been associated with various professional bodies such as BBSS, IFA, BCAS, and CTC. He has served on multiple ICI committees and is currently a member of International Taxation Committee of ICI for the financial year 2025 and 26. He is also a certified FAFD professional, has completed the IBBI valuation course and a DIIT course. Sir, please, the audience is waiting for you. Sir, thank you.
Thank
Please.
you. Thank you, Balakrishnan sir, for the warm introduction. I think some of my voice is audible, sir. Is it okay?
Yes, you are.
Okay. So, good evening, everybody. And it was a wonderful session by sir. And I think what I understood is we as a CA really want to get into technology so as to make our lives easier, and that's was a very good session. I have never tried this software, but definitely I'll look forward to use the software. So to continue our presentation, I'll just share my screen, and since if you can just confirm if you're able to see the screen.
Yes, sir. We are able to see.
Fine. So I think it's on full screen mode.
No, sir.
Yeah.
Is it fine
Now
now?
it is.
Is it fine, sir, now?
No, sir. It's on with um, it is not fine, sir.
It's not fine?
No.
Just a minute. Hmm. So, is it fine now?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, it is.
Perfect. So a warm welcome to everybody for the session or for the 84th webinar on the data analysis and reporting using Tableau and the practical scenarios on 15 CCP. So my topic for the day is practical scenarios in case of Form 15 CA and CB. So the content for today's session I've bifurcated into around four segments precisely. First is about Form 15 CA/CB, what all documents are required for preparing a Form 15 CA/CB, and and along with that, how do we interplay with the Income Tax Act and treaty? What rate is to be applicable? And some case studies which I have found out, which can be useful for us to understand how and what rate should be applicable and how we are required to file the Form 15 CA/CB. So the first aspect is, I have started my presentation basically just mentioning about section 195(6). So under section 195, I think everybody has read it. So whenever we are making a payment to a non-resident, in that scenario, section 195 is applicable. 195(6) clearly says, if any transaction is there, which is prescribed in Rule 37BB, then we have to obtain a Form 15 CA and CB. We have to file Form 15 CA at the income tax portal of the remitter and obtain a Form 15 CB from a practicing chartered accountant. And so along with Form 15 CA, there's certain documents that needs to be keep in mind, which we have to always take from the client so that on that basis we can issue Form 15 CB. So also, sir, I request if there is any questions during the course of the session, you can just let me know so that we can take it there itself. And so, as you know, that then Form 15 CB is required to be filed by the chartered accountant using the digital signature on the income tax website through our ARCA portal. And the company should authorize the chartered accountant before uploading the Form 15 CB. And 15 CB shall contain all the relevant particulars for the beneficiary and the remitter. So beneficiary being the payee to whom we are making the payment, and the remitter. So this is a small flow chart I've prepared that, okay, whenever we are making a payment to a non-resident, if there's no payment to a non-resident, then there's no requirement of obtaining Form 15 CA/CB. It is required only if and also if there is certain parameters, if certain transactions prescribed under Rule 37BB, in those scenarios as well, Form 15 CA/CB is not required. Similarly, all the taxable, whether the payment is taxable in India, only then Form 15 CB is required. Otherwise, one need to file Form 15 CA Part D. I'll go during the course of presentation. I'll let you know like what all other parts of Form 15 CA. Similarly, in case of recipient, if the total payment is below 5 lakh rupees, in that scenario, Form 15 CA Part A needs to be filed. And in rest of the cases, Part B. And similarly, in case of if the person has not availed any lower withholding certificate, in that scenario, Form 15 C in Part C needs to be filed. Part C will be accompanied with a Form 15 CB, that's a chartered accounting certificate. So 15 CA as well as four parts. So whenever any person is coming to you and asking that he requires a Form 15 CA CB, first and foremostly one should look out like in which part the transaction is falling. If the value of the aggregate value during the financial year to that payee is below 5 lakh rupees, then Part A is required. If that person has availed any lower withholding certificate In that scenario, Part B is required. Part D is required wherein though no tax needs to be withheld, i.e. that the amount is not chargeable to tax, but the transaction is happening. In that scenario, Part D needs to be filed in Form 15CA, and all the remaining cases, Part C needs to be filed. Part C shall also accompany with the Form 15CB, which the chartered accountant needs to file. So whenever a client is coming towards you and asking, okay, you provided Form 15CB, so we should ask for at least all these documents, agreements and invoices. Sometimes the company does not give agreement copies that, okay, it's a one-off payment, we don't have an agreement. So always ask for a PO or along with the invoice copy. Payment terms will be mentioned, whatever there is in the invoice copy or the PO terms. Uh, and you can also obtain the technical advice in determining the nature of remittances. This is very crucial because on this basis only you have to read the Income Tax Act, okay, under which section the amount is falling, and the corresponding impact in DTAA, like, okay, which is more beneficial for me, the Income Tax Act or DTAA. That will help you understand in what particular rate shall be applicable for making the remittance. Then payers AD bank detail, authorized dealer details, the BSR code, bank account number, all those things are required. And important factor is rate of conversion of foreign currency, the TTBR. So whenever we are making a payment, whenever we're making payment to a non-resident, the forex rate should be the TTBR and not any rate which is coming online on the transaction date. So TTBR rates are rates issued by the SBI. So one should always ask that, okay, what are the TTBR rate? And on that rate only, the TDS needs to be withheld. You should also ask for a tax residency certificate and Form 10F, and a declaration that the PE does not have or do not intend to have a POEM or a PE in India, PE or a business connection in India. Okay. So one recent change is under Form 10F. So earlier when we used to make the foreign remittances, we were asking for Form 10F, a physical hard copy, signed copy from the payee that, okay, certain parameters are not there in the TRC, so you provide a Form 10F. Now the income tax authorities has come down, has changed the rules in Rule 21AB. And they have mentioned that, okay, you have to file the Form 10F online on the income tax portal. So Form 10F shall be required if the TRC of the payee does not contain certain details such as status of payee, nationality, tax identification number, period, and the address. So in most of the TRCs, one or the other thing is not available. So that is the reason in almost all scenarios, Form 10F is mandatory to obtain from the payee. And now Form 10F is mandatory to be filed on the income tax portal. So now there are certain challenges when we are filing Form 10F online, that if a person is a non-resident, how, if suppose we are mentioning a non-Indian number, in that scenario, how will the OTP will go? So if you are facing any such challenges, so I have prepared another, a Word file wherein we can discuss that at the end if suppose we have any issues in Form 10F, how to file Form 10F. Similarly, okay, yeah. So what are documents required for Form 15 CACB? First is the remitter's name, remitter's address, PAN number, principal place of business, all the basic details are required for remitter. Similarly, for remittee, his address, his principal place, country of remittance, where is to be made, all those information is required. Country to which remittance is made, currency, proposed date of remittance. So one proposed date of remittance is very crucial. So what happens is, if suppose you are issuing a certificate, the proposed date of remittance shall be a future date to the issuance date of the Form 15CB. So let's suppose you are issuing a Form 15CB today, and the proposed date of remittance can only be today and not in past. it should be also always in future. And nature of remittance is also required. So during the entire during the course of presentation, I have certain snapshots wherein what details are required to be mentioned. We'll discuss that in detail as well. One is the BSR code. So what happens is at times in case of non-Indian banks, the BSR code is quite difficult to get. So, but we have to obtain the BSR code. In most of the foreign banks, they provide SWIFT codes, but always insist on the BSR code of the bank. And okay, father's name, it's normal. So what is the procedure is the remitter will obtain the form 15 CB, upload electronic the details in form 15 CA, mention 15 CB acknowledgement number. Then you have to download that undertaking and submit that form 15 CA along with the CB to the AD bank, and the RBI, basically RBI is delegated the power to AD. AD shall remit the amount, and the copy of the undertaking is to be and also similar TDS return is to be submitted by the bank, that total whatever payments you are making through form 15 CB is to be disclosed by AD bank to RBI. But again, that is not our area, so that's not covered in the presentation. And okay, so now coming on to the practical way of how we have to file form 15 CACB. First is in the taxpayers portal, they should assign a CA, that okay, add my CA and along with the membership number, and they need to assign form 15 CB. So once you are assigned form 15 CB, is not required for every form 15 CB needs to be assigned. Once assigned, you can give multiple form 15 CBs during the course, until unless they are de-assigning the form to you. This is the financial year form name that needs to be selected. And once you are approved, and you can go to file form 15 CB. And so this is the portal of our chartered accountant portal. So we have to go to CA portal. It will show that okay, form 15 CB needs to be filed. And when you click on resume, you will get to know the PAN number of the company as well. So again, in this presentation, I have given you the snapshots of the offline mode on how the offline mode is used. So in the offline utility, there's a utility available on the income tax portal. You have to download that utility. In that utility, you have to generate the form 15 CB. In the subsequent cell, I'll tell you what all information is required. Once you have extracted that XML file, that needs to be uploaded on this portal. And along with the DAC, you need to file with the DAC. Once the DAC is affixed, the form 15 CB is filed. Then automatically, this form 15 CB will be visible to the taxpayers portal. So right now what happens is, in case of offline form, it takes up to 24 hours to get affected on the company's portal. So, but in case of online, it happens instantly. So that's the thing, the maximum 24-hour is there in case of offline submission. Okay, so then 15 CB is filed, processed, and this is the form 15 CB, the acknowledgement of the income tax form is there. So these are the form which needs to be filed. This is the ARN which has been generated, and this is the form 15 CB. And name and address of the beneficiary, we have to mention, okay, which is the country, what is the currency, what is the foreign currency amount, the INR amount, IFSC, bank, BSR code, date, the nature of remittance. It says business income other than that covered categories above. So I'll come. So lot of nature is there. If you read the Income Tax Act, so you have to read section 9, read with section 115. That again I'll cover in the subsequent slides. So now once you have generated the ARN for form 15 CB, you have to file form 15 CA. You have to log on to the e-filing portal, and the e-filing option, select form 15 CA. On 15 CA, you'll get the if you are using an offline utility, you can upload form 15 CA manually. Otherwise, it will automatically catch from the online form online filed Form 15CB. And okay, and yes, and the status. And once the 15CA is tagged to the relevant 15CB, then the complete transaction has fulfilled. Now, once 15CA is linked to the specific 15CB, you cannot revise the form. You have only span of 7 days to withdraw the form. That is a in case if anything wrong has happened, only that you can do. So again, the 15CA will also consider the basic details of the transaction that's supposed to happen. 15CA is the responsibility of the company to file, whereas 15CB is the responsibility of the chartered accountant. Okay. As I told that 15CA filing date cannot be later than the proposed date of remittance, and the withdrawal facility is available within 7 days of 15CA by the income tax department. However, no option is provided for the revision of either form. So revision is not possible, only withdrawal is possible. So you cannot revise the form. Okay, so this is the a chart which I've prepared that okay, whenever you are making a foreign remittances under section 195, how do the rate selection is being applicable in between the app vis-a-vis the DTAA. So if you read this chart, firstly we have to identify if the payment is liable to tax under the Income Tax Act. If yes, then if the payment is liable to tax under DTAA, okay, yes. If DTA rate are beneficial, to check if the TRC is available or not. So for availing the benefit of DTAA, you have to always ensure that TRC should be there. So TRC along with Form 10F and no paid declaration, that's a prerequisite that needs to be taken from the from the remedy. Then once you identify that okay, what are the tax as per the Income Tax Act, then you have to check the Income Tax Act which is beneficial. And if the TRC is available, then we have to also ensure that whether 206AA is applicable or not. So 206AA deals with a higher rate of tax if you do not have a PAN. And the tax rate would be 20% in that scenario, the maximum marginal rate, or 20%, whichever is higher. Okay, now in Rule 37 BC also, what they have done is that if the PAN is not available, but instead of PAN, you are providing alternative documents such as copy of TIN number along with the TRC. In that scenario, you're not required to provide the PAN, and we can still make the payment without invoking section 206AA. Okay, and then again, so if section 206AA is applicable, then the tax rate would be higher of 20% or the rates as per in force. And if not, if section 206 is not applicable, then we can go as per the rate as per DTAA. So when we do a payment through Inform 15CB, then we have to check. If I'll show you the previous slide as well, you have to check. You have to show that okay, you are doing the withholding as per TT rates or income tax rates. You have to mention that. I think the snapshot is not there as of I think they've not mentioned the snapshot. So you have to select that okay, you are withholding tax as per which rate, income tax or TT rate. Now, let's supposedly you are making a payment of a royalty expense. As per income tax side, the tax rate is 20% plus surcharge plus cess. But in DTAA, there is no provision of surcharge and cess. So that's a flat rate. So let's supposedly in treaty also there is a rate of 20%, and in domestic law there is a rate of 20% plus surcharge plus cess. So treaty would be beneficial because on treaty surcharge and cess will not be applicable. Now in income tax act there is also a catch that if you are taking the benefit of the DTAA, then as per section 115A, the non-resident needs to file a return of income in India. So that's a very important point which we have to keep in mind before advising the client that okay, we are taking the benefit of treaty, but you're not filing your income tax return, then you'll be defaulter. So always ensure that as well. Okay. Yeah. And what all so when we are making the payment through Form 15 CACB, what else documents are required? What else documents are required? To submit with the AD bank. I think whenever you are making a payment to the AD bank, the bankers might be asking a lot of documents. The first would be the request letter. That okay, you provide a request letter. That okay, you are making this remittance along with Form A1, and Form A1 is required only in case of import payments. In case of service payments or other than imports, you have to submit Form A2. The Form A2 and A1 and the request letter will be given by the remitter to the bank who is making the remittance. Along with that, the bankers also ask for an invoice copy or the agreement copy that one needs to provide. Along with that, the FEMA declaration is required that okay, it is within the permissible limit as prescribed by the RBI that we need to provide, and any other undertaking which the bankers may ask. For example, they generally ask for the details of signatory or who is the authorized person who is signing this request letter. They generally ask for the board resolution copies, all those information. Okay. So this was the basic, understanding of the entire 15 CACB, which I, just walked, run through, through the basic needs, and after that, now if we come on to some case studies, that okay, which I think that's the main highlight of the particular of the today's session. So now a lot of people, whenever I'm making, certain payments abroad, they need to check that, okay, whether we need to submit Form 15 CACB or not. So some transaction I have considered that, okay, in that scenario, whether 15 CACB be applicable and how the remittance will be made, that we can discuss. So now I think we can discuss with the audience as well. For example, that if the case is ABC is an Indian company who is making a payment for subscription of LinkedIn, for example, any royalty payment which they are making. I think everybody does this recruitment purpose, transactions. So such payment was made by the accountant using a corporate credit card issued by him for a company expenses. So as you know that we have to submit Form 15 CACB to the AD bank before the remittances happen. But in this scenario, a lot of people are doing payment through credit card and the transaction happens. So first question is whether such transaction shall be subject to withholding tax. Okay. Anybody, I think anybody from the audience might be making certain payments to non-resident through credit card. Or is anybody checking whether the withholding applicability is there or not? If you can just put in the chat box and we can discuss as well. And whether so since by credit card we've already made the remittance, whether it's a requirement proactively or voluntary, or is it required by the Income Tax Act to furnish Form 15 CACB through the bank? Because see, the transaction has already been happened. So whether we need to file 15 CACB. So see, so now the solution to this is the subscription to website and its database would amount to imparting of information as a commercial knowledge as a royalty, because we are using their copyrighted assets, right? So we, as per domestic law in section 916, this transaction will fall under royalty. So we have asserted that okay, the tax rate will be there. We have to withhold tax, and the tax rate is prescribed under section 115A. So we have to read 115A as well. So in that, the tax rate on royalty is 20% plus surcharge plus cess. Okay, but now since we have already made the remittance, how can you withhold taxes at 20%? So see, whenever you're making the payment, firstly you should ask the payee that who will be bearing the tax burden, because TDS is you have to make the payment to the payee after deducting the tax. But since in this transaction has already been happened, so it will be cost to you, cost to the company. So you will be crossing up this amount and disclosing the facts in Form 15 CACB. In Form 15 CB also, there is an option coming up whether the tax has been grossed up or not. So you have to select that grossed up option in Form 15 CB. And you have to make the compliance of Form 15 CB as well as deposit the tax. And I understand you might face a lot of challenges. Now, for example, how will you obtain the TRC from a person you have already made the payment through credit card? But you should always check with that person. Okay, since I am making a payment remittance to you, you are a non-resident. Please provide us a copy of TRC, Form 10F, and no P declaration. Every company does it, and if they're not doing it, so how will you know that the company is having a permanent establishment in India or not? Because this 20% rate is applicable only if there is no PE in India. So that also needs to be keep in mind. So if not, then you have to grossing up the rate which is applicable to a foreign company, the maximum marginal rate, which is 40% plus surcharge plus cess on profits. But in this scenario, you're not able to identify what are the profits. So on the transaction amount, you need to withhold tax, and 40% will be the 40% will be your cost to the company. So always ask all those information from the payee. And as per Rule 37BB, there is no exclusion that okay, Form 15 CB and CA is not required. And even though payment has also already been made, we have found out lot of cases wherein we are getting notices that you have made the foreign remittance and not complied with the provision of Form 15 C and CB. So voluntarily you have to generate Form 15 CACB, though not submitting to the AD ban, but you have to do a compliance. So that's a very important point in this case study. Okay. And if you have any doubt at the end of the presentation, just quote me the case study number and we can discuss that in detail as well. Okay. Okay. One case study too, which I have kept is a lot of people are facing this issue as well. Payment to a foreign branch of an Indian bank. Okay. So this is also a case which we have, analyzed and we have walked through in past as well. So what is happening is, so XYZ Limited is an Indian company who has taken a loan from a Singapore branch of a Punjab National Bank, for example. So PNB is having a Singapore branch. Okay. And so when they have taken a loan from the Singapore branch, they'll be paying the interest to the Singapore branch. Okay. And whether on the interest payment which they are paying, in that scenario, whether the Indian company needs to withhold tax for that Singapore branch of the Punjab National Bank. Okay, now again in this scenario, we have to go through right from the basics. So Section 195 is applicable only if a person is responsible. A person can be any person, Indian resident or a non-resident, for making payment to a non-resident or a foreign company. Okay. So now we have to check whether the Singapore branch of the PNB, which is an Indian company, is a non-resident or not. Okay. Now we understand the definition of non-resident. So non-resident in context of the company means company other than an Indian company and company having business connection or poem in India. Okay, understand? So, the PNB is a Indian company, right? So the Singapore branch of the Indian company will also be treated as an Indian company because Singapore branch will be deemed as a permanent establishment of an Indian company abroad. So it will be deemed as an Indian company. And it is also very important because it will be treated as an Indian company. So in that scenario, Section 195 will not be applicable. So whenever we are making a payment to the Singapore branch of PNB, the tax, there's no withholding tax as per Section 195. You have to withhold tax as per the normal provision, which is Section 194A, basically. Whenever you're deducting whenever you're paying a payment to a resident. So in that scenario, Form 15 CACB will also not be required in this case. Now, if we confuse it a little bit, be it vice versa. I have not shared that case study. Let's suppose you are making a payment to an Indian branch of a foreign bank. Okay. So now, for example, Deutsche Bank is a foreign bank. Okay. And they are having an Indian branch, right? So whenever Indian company is making payment or interest payment similarly to an Indian branch of a foreign bank, whether TDS needs to be withheld under section 195 or 194A, and whether Form 15 CACB is required or not. That is a question. So in this scenario as well, now we have to read this section that, okay, since the non-resident in context of a company means a company this. So Deutsche Bank is a non-resident, and non-resident is having a business connection in India because the branch office is a permanent establishment of a foreign bank in India. So whenever, though I'm making the payment in India, it will be deemed that, okay, I'm making a payment to a non-resident, and you have to comply with the provisions of Form 15 CACB and also withhold tax under Section 195. So this is also a very practical question which a lot of people are facing, whether we have, and we are getting a lot of notices from the income tax office as well on certain transactions where we're unable to identify that, okay, whether 15C is applicable or not and whether withholding needs to be done or not. So that needs to be understood in detail. Okay. Now, the thing is, again, payment to an Indian branch of a foreign company. Okay. This is the case which I was talking about, but it is not a bank. So a bank with everything will be a Indian branch of foreign bank will be a foreign company in itself. Now, in this scenario, XYZ is an Australian company. They've opened a project office in India for execution of services. Okay. PQR is another Indian company required to make payment of technical fee to such project office in its bank account maintained with SBI in India. Okay. Now, whether such transaction attract withholding tax and compliant under Rule 37 VB or not. Okay. As we understood from the previous example, the Indian branch of a foreign company is the extended limb of the foreign company itself. Right? Once it is established that it is a P in India, it will be deemed as a foreign company. And whatever rates are available as applicable to a foreign company, that you have to obtain, that you have to charge. So now, again, we'll read section 195, section 9, and section 5. All those sections we will read. And once we establish that, okay, it is having a permanent establishment in India, the project office of a foreign company is considered as a non-resident. Okay, it's determined. Now, the payment to resident is covered under section 195. Now, this is a very crucial point that technical services under section 115A is applicable at the rate of 20%. But 20% is applicable only if that person is having no P in India. So, if it is determined that a company is having a P in India, then the maximum marginal rate will be applicable, which is 40% as per section 44DA. Now, section 44DA says that the tax rate of 40% will be deemed on profits. Now, how will you determine that, okay, the amount which is being remitted is the profits or the gross income? Since in the absence of information, we do not have the costing details, the expense detail of the Indian branch of the foreign company, we always assume that, okay, whatever transaction amount is there, on that 40% TDS will be deducted. And now again, that is a secondary question, that who will bear the tax burden? Because whenever we are deducting a tax of 40%, the foreign company can claim the credit in case of doubly tax income, right? And if not, then it will be a burden upon the company. So see, let's suppose you're making a payment of 100 rupees. So approximately 100 divided by 60% into 40%, that will be an extra cost to the company. That needs to be done. So so we have to very and very carefully identify that, okay, what is the tax rate applicable in this scenario. And yes, now since we're making a payment to a non-resident, in that case form 15C 50CP is also required. Abhi, I recently I did a case wherein a practical case which I have not covered in this scenario, that okay, the shares are of an Indian company. Shares are of an Indian company. Present present shareholder is from USA, and the new shareholders for whom the shares are being transferred is also from Singapore. So the transaction is happening from Singapore to USA between two non-residents of a share in India. So when we were analyzing, let's see how will this be applicable, because the payment is being done outside India. Remitter is also outside India. Remedy is also outside India. Whether 15 CCB provisions will be applicable, because transaction is not routed through India, right? It is through a different bank account. No bankers have asked this, so but we as a professional, we analyze all those things, and we check that, okay, since the source of income is from India, in that case also we have given form 15 CBCA. And okay, whether the capital gain, because ultimately the capital gain tax needs to be paid in India, because the source is arriving from India, though payment is not happening, tax has been deposited. So we voluntarily have applied 15 CACB as well in that case. Okay. Okay. Next is case study 4. A simple transaction. A lot of people are, making this payment. So the immovable property, is owned by a non-resident. As you know, a lot of people who are having properties in India have they migrated abroad and they have settled abroad. Now they want to sell their property to any person. Okay. So now in this case, Mr. A from New Delhi is purchasing an immovable property of 1 crore from Mr. Patel, a tax resident of USA, and how to comply with withholding requirement. See, as you know, in case of Income Tax Act under Section 194 IA, whenever the property value is more than 50 lakh rupees, the buyer needs to deduct 1% TDS in case of seller. Okay, of the seller. Okay, but it is applicable only in the case of resident seller. Since you're not making a payment to a non-resident, Section 194 IA will not be applicable, and instead Section 195 will be applicable. Okay. Now, I have seen a few instances, not few, many instances wherein the persons show that, okay, I have the Aadhaar, and they are saying that since I'm having an Aadhaar, you deduct tax at the rate of 1%. To which we always politely say to them, being Aadhaar does not mean you are a resident or non-resident. Your residency can change every year, right? And we have to read the applicable sections, and we have to check that, okay, whether that in this current year that person is resident or not. So whenever a person is coming to you saying I am having Aadhaar, deduct at that 1%, never ever say. You have to check the residential status. You have to check from the passport from how much days he was in India, whether he is ROR, RNOR. That one needs to analyze. So once it is analyzed that, okay, Section 195 will be applicable, in that case, now Mr. A, as you know, in 194 IA, there is no requirement to obtain TAN. You can, through PAN only you can make the payment. But in this scenario, Mr. A would be required to obtain TAN number, and he has to file the TDS statement in Form 27Q and also issue Form 1628 to Mr. Patel. And now, as you know, the tax rate in case of capital gain is 20%. Now, presently, now it is 12.5% without, without the indexation benefit. So now, if suppose that the net profit, the net profit with the net gain which the seller is having is just below 12.5%. So the seller will say, see, my entire profit is less than 10.5%. If I'm depositing the tax at 12.5%, then I'll not be getting anything. So in that scenario, Mr. Patel can make an application for loan withholding under Section 195(3) or 197 with the AO, wherein that AO will determine that, okay, what should be the rate. So ideally, it shall be the rate which is lower than 12.45%, which compensates the tax amount on the capital gain. So that we have to check, okay, whether it is falling or not. Otherwise, what happens is, if suppose the buyer is deducting at the 12.5%, the non-resident will file the return of income in India, and he or she can claim the refund while filing the return of income. Now, in this case also, for making the outward remittance, Mr. A needs to file Form 15CA and also for obtain Form 15CB from a chartered accountant. Only then the remittance can happen. I think this is a very more applicable case in everybody, because in international taxation, this is a very common transaction. Yeah. Okay. Case study 5. Okay, so this is about dividend and MFN clause. Okay, so for this I need to have to give you a brief overview. What is the MFN clause in the DTAA? So in DTAA, there is a MFN clause which states most favored nation. You might have heard with the recent case laws as well that this is very much the Supreme Court has recently passed a judgment as well in the case of Nestle SA, and has given an altogether different statement whether how the MFN will be applicable. So what happens in the MFN clause is that if suppose I am doing a transaction between India and Netherlands. Now, in India and Netherlands, the tax rate as per treaty is, let's suppose, 10%. Okay. But that in the treaty, it is written that, okay, in case Netherlands being an OECD member, if in case of other OECD member is also part of the member country, if in that country the tax rate is lower than the rate prescribed in Indian Netherlands treaty, you can take the most favored nation clause benefit. So earlier, a lot of people were using this mechanism of a low tax country, that the tax rate would be less. Okay, so now it's, as you see Article 12 difference of India and Netherlands stays the tax of 10%, but most favored nation in the protocol, the withholding rate in India, Slovenia, India, Lithuania, and DTAA was 5%. So earlier we used to take the benefit of 5% because being a more favored nation benefit. Now the Supreme Court has ruled out in case of Nestle SA that you have to, in availing the benefit, the effect to give the treaty to its protocol is mandatory, which was never ever there. So whatever countries being an OECD, but not an OECD member countries, when the India, Slovenia, Lithuania DTA was signed, at that time it was not an OECD member. It became OECD member afterwards. After the Indian Netherlands Treaty was signed. So how you can take a benefit of a rate which was applicable after the India Netherlands Treaty? So this is the way. This is the reason. Now all the companies who has taken the MFN clause benefit are getting notices as well. So whenever we are going as for TTAA, we have to, very understandably check that, okay, what will be the, applicable tax rate. And once we determine the tax rate, in that scenario, we can issue the Form 15CA CB as well. Okay. So these were the little example which I have kept in mind. Okay. And now the important aspect. So whenever we are issuing Form 15CB, as you know, it is a certificate. So certificate, we are providing a exact information. And if it is found that, okay, we have given any wrong information or, incorrect information, there's a penalty liable under Section 271I, failure to furnish information or furnishing inaccurate information, penalty of INR 1 lakh is applicable. So carefully we have to determine what is the correct tax rate. We have to always keep in mind that, okay, there's no as issue as such. And one point I mentioned in the trailing mail was Form 15CA CB can be withdrawn within 7 days of filing. However, a union can be revoked only within 48 hours after its generation. So what is a scenario wherein you have made the payment, 15CA is generated, and now you are creating a UDIN which is only applicable for 48 hours. So, so once you have given the 15CB and you're revoking, and suppose 48 hours have been elapsed, How will you revoke the UDIN? It will show a mismatch. So always keep in mind that, okay, you have to keep this in mind, that how to analyze it, because the 15 CCB can only be withdrawn. It can never be revised. So always keep in mind both the timelines. Okay. And form 15 CB should be statutory form and can be relied upon, and should ensure to keep in mind all the documents related to outward remittance, obtain tax deduction certificates, TRC, 10F, and all those things. Okay. Now, before going out to some questions, there's one important this point I discussed was about regarding Form 10F. I don't know if anybody is filing Form 10F, and if there are any facing any issues. I'll share my one more screen. So before filing online Form 10F, always obtain a declaration from the payee that, okay, about the details that I or we are a non-resident residing at this location, and on behalf of the companies on the legal matters, and the authority. This point is very important, that the authority to act. Anybody can sign the Form 10F, but always ask for the authority letter that whether that person has the authority to sign Form 10F or not. Because this signed form needs to be uploaded on the income tax portal when you're filing the Form 10F online. So always keep this information. If you want, I can share this Form 10F details through mail as well, so that everybody can take the benefit of this. Now, the process of Form 10F online, I'll just share the details as well. So, in case of non-resident, how to file Form 10F? So, once you log in, so now there's an option if the person is having PAN or no PAN. If the person is having no PAN also, then also you can get yourself registered through, there's a method available on the income tax portal. Yeah, मैंने लिखा है point A कहाँ गया? Yeah, with the PAN card or not. So if it is having PAN card or not, you have to still file Form 10F. So once you go to the income tax portal, go to register portal, and then you have to select the category as others or non-residents. Once you select non-resident, then you're not required to quote your PAN number. It is applicable only if you are selecting method other than non-residents. Okay. Now, we have to then, once selected, you have to file all the details that, okay, date of incorporation, TIN number, country of residence, key person details, who are the key person of this authorization entry, and full name, all the contact details. So one important thing is, I discussed that you have to mention the primary mobile number and the primary email ID. So in few countries, what problem we were facing was we were not getting OTPs. Particularly in, I think, China, we were not getting the OTPs. In some countries, we are getting the OTP. So you can mention the foreign number, or the person is having Indian number. In that case, you can file that as well. So you have to give the OTP, otherwise it will not be validated. The postal address we have to mention, and then after generating the OTP, you have to also attach the tax residency certificate and the declaration which I told you was there. In that case, you have to also provide that. You have to also attach that as well. And now in the starting, we have to, I told that we can file for the preceding year TRC as well as the subsequent year TRC, which is the current financial year, not the future period. And once you've submitted all the steps, on that basis, you can submit the form. And once submitted, after e-verifying, the Form 10F can be downloaded, and you can give that Form 10F to all the the beneficiaries which are there. So this is the process of Form 10F. Okay. Now coming back to my PowerPoint, and so this was the PowerPoint which I have prepared for basic information about 15 CACP and some practical cases which we can discuss. And now, if you have any questions, then I can we can discuss, and we can have a discussion one on one. So, any questions, Balkrishna sir, available on the chat portal? Any questions?
So yeah, thank you, sir. Let's begin our question and answer session.
Yes, sir.
So, sir, the first question is from the Donglivali East. AK Swaminathan has asked, in case of purchase of immovable property, loan deduction certificate can be obtained before the property is registered in the name of the buyer. Can you verify this statement, please?
So, okay, in 195.3 and 197, particularly in 195.3, since the buyer, no, you told that the property is registered in the name of seller, right?
In the name of the buyer.
So, why the buyer, if the property is named in the name of buyer, then buyer will buy, it should be in the name of seller only, right?
Maybe
Uh,
that question.
So property is in the name of the seller. That seller is a non-resident. Under section 195.3, the seller can go and obtain loan withholding certificate. Similarly, in 197 also, if the seller does not want to go to lower withholding authorities, under section 195.2 and 195.7, the buyer has also option to go and approach the lower withholding certificate against that PAN number. That okay, I will be making this amount to this PAN number, and I want to obtain a lower withholding certificate. And yes, the buyer can also go. The buyer has power under section 195.2 and the seller is in 195.3 and 197. Both of them, either of them can go. Yeah.
Yeah. So the second question is from Varun Manotra from Delhi. Sir, how to retrieve user ID of non-resident company in case they misplace the credentials and don't have details of registered mail and phone number for 10F generation?
Okay. So again, the other option would be you can obtain the digital certificate, and if you know the DSC and you can upload that DSC through that you can do it. Otherwise, you can also make an application to the local officer if you have the jurisdiction details. Then he or she will be mentioning mailing to the CPC, and from there you can generate the revised credentials. Otherwise, in the past, but when we have done was we did through DSC only. DSC is a easy option. Yeah.
So, sir, the last question is from Bapat DN from Pune.
Uh,
Person attending professional course in UK to enhance his professional knowledge, say engineering or medical college, course is in UK and need to attend the same with the physical presence in UK, whether TDS applicable.
So as I understood is that a person is Indian resident, he or she has went to UK for learning, and now
Right,
you are making payment from India to a educational institution, right?
right, sir.
Okay, so now whether you're making a payment to an educational institution, we have to check whether it's a nature of the professional services or in the nature of since according to me, an individual is I think making the payment to the this this the university. In that scenario, if it is falling under the definition of LRS, Liberalized Remittance Scheme, and below 250,000 US dollars annually, so in that scenario, TDS will not be applicable, but TCS will be applicable under section 206C 1F 1H. TCS will be applicable.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, on behalf of the organizing committee, I sincerely thanks C. Akshat Maheshwari, sir, for his valuable insight on practical aspects of 15C and 15CB. His clear explanation and practical approach made this session highly informative and beneficial for all the participants. Thank you, sir, for your time and for making this webinar a great success.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for patiently listening. Thank you.